Good evening, everyone, and thank you for participating in Tarion's 2025 Annual Public Meeting. My name is Jennifer Spear, and I'll be your moderator. I'll begin the meeting with a land acknowledgement on behalf of Tarion. We want to acknowledge the Indigenous and ancestral lands on which all homes in Ontario are built. Tarion's corporate office and this venue are located on the ancestral land shared by the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat peoples. Tonight's annual public meeting is a hybrid format involving both participants in this room as well as those on our live stream. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on Tarion's website at a later date. To begin, I'll introduce the members of Tarion's senior leadership team who will be part of the panel this evening. On my immediate left is Chair of the Tarion Board of Directors, Andy Kennens, Tarion President and CEO, Peter Balashbe. Oh, and I practiced it too. Peter Balasubramanian, Chief Risk Officer Edmund Lee, Vice President of Warranty Services Sophie Valhakis, and Vice President of Underwriting Kevin Brody. For tonight's agenda, we'll begin with a video message from the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement. This will be followed by remarks from the Board Chair, Andy Kennens, a presentation by Edmund Lee, and remarks by the CEO. We will also have a question and answer period. Our Q&A will be divided into two parts to accommodate the mix of questions that are typically raised. The first part of the Q&A, which will run till approximately 6:30, will be open for general questions from both the audience here and those at home. Because the first part of the Q&A is being live streamed and recorded, some people may not be comfortable asking file-specific questions. The Q&A will run from 6:30 to 7. And in the second half, Tarion warranty and underwriting staff will be available in the back of the room to address specific questions. In addition, for those of you who are online, we will continue to accept your online questions submitted by email. Also, Tom Barber, the Tarion Ombudsman, will also be available on site for questions that people may want to direct to his office. So for those of you online, you may wish to connect with him. You can send an email to his office and we'll be able to follow up. Finally, the panelists will also remain to address individual questions during that time. The meeting will then wrap up at 7 p.m. Before we move on to the presentations, just a note for those of you online, if you have questions and you'd like to submit for the Q&A portion, you can do so by emailing them to events@tarion.com. If you prefer your question be addressed directly with you and not read publicly, just indicate that in your email and we'll reach out to you during the second half of the Q&A. I'll now start things off by introducing the video message from the Minister, which will be followed by remarks by the Board Chair.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to join you as the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement to say a few words at your annual public meeting. I would like to extend a sincere thank you. Please accept my gratitude for your hard work and steadfast leadership. Ontario is taking bold steps to protect consumers as they make one of the most important purchases of their lives, buying a home. Tarion shares not only our values, but also our government's commitment to buyers and owners of new homes in Ontario. Over the past half-century, Tarion has played an essential role in administering new home warranties and protections for buyers and owners across the province. Together, we have modernized the system to better identify and stop bad actors from profiting on the backs of hardworking Ontarians. In the past year, you have achieved a great deal, and you should all be immensely proud. You have played a crucial role in ensuring that new home buyers in our province receive the coverage they are entitled to under the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act. This warranty and protection program has been rebuilt from the ground up to emphasize consumer protections, access to information, and transparency. You have also made considerable progress with changes to the customer service standard, making the warranty process simpler, more flexible, and more supportive for homeowners. As we work closely together in the best interest of those who dream of home ownership in our province, it is clear that the future is bright. Ontario's home buyers and sellers deserve a transparent, accountable market backed by strong protections and fair enforcement. Together, we will deliver on our commitment to protect Ontarians. Once again, thank you to the entire Tarion team for this chance to participate at your annual public meeting. Please accept my best wishes for a productive and successful meeting.
We appreciate the Minister sharing this message as part of our meeting. I'll begin my remarks with a brief overview of Tarion, the role of the board, and the Ombudsperson Office, and then I'll provide some observations about the challenges of the new home industry that impacted home buyers, builders, and Tarion in 2024. Tarion is charged with administering the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act. We're a non-profit organization that operates independent of industry, and our role is to help homeowners and builders come to a resolution when there are disputes about the builder's warranty on a new home. When builders are unable or unwilling to resolve a warranted defect, we can help provide financial compensation to the homeowner and then hold the builder accountable under the warranty program rules. At any given time, there are approximately 400,000 homes in the warranty program, 6,500 licensed builders, over $600 million in the guarantee fund, and over $1.2 trillion in warranty coverage backed by Tarion over the course of the 7-year warranty timeframe. With this level of complexity, it's important to have individuals with diverse backgrounds and skill sets to help guide the organization. Tarion's board of directors is a key part of the organization's governance structure and is comprised of 12 members who together are responsible for the general oversight of the organization and setting the long-term strategy to make sure we remain consistent with our public purpose mandate. The board is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, which is the role of management. On screen, you'll see a slide identifying all of our current board members. 10 of them are here in attendance. The other 2 are following this presentation virtually. More information about our board composition, including member bios, can be found on our website. As noted earlier by our moderator, our new home ombudsperson, Tom Barber, is also with us this evening. Tom is right over there. The new Home Ombuds Office is an independent and confidential resource available to homeowners that reports directly to the Board of Directors. The office responds to homeowner inquiries and provides recommendations to Tarion regarding any case-specific or systemic issues that they identify and monitors implementation of those recommendations. Each year, the new Home Ombuds Office publishes their annual report that details their findings and recommendations. I encourage you to visit their website or seek out Tom after the meeting if you have questions. I'll close my remarks with some comments on the challenges that we faced in 2024. The housing market saw a significant decline in housing starts in 2024, as well as some of the lowest sales in years. This translated into builders holding off on launching new projects, which led to a drop in homes being enrolled with Tarion. At the same time, several builders also went into receivership, which left home buyers facing stress and uncertainty. While new home starts were down, builders were still completing projects, allowing homeowners to take possession of their new homes. In 2024, the rate of possessions was the highest it's been in 5 years, with just under 60,000 new homeowners getting the keys to their new homes. These market conditions required Tarion to respond accordingly in how and where we deployed our resources. For example, the receiverships in both 2023 and 2024 led to over 900 deposit claims that needed to be verified, and Tarion provided compensation to all of these home buyers. With the changes in our customer service standard, which also took effect in 2024, our warranty services and customer service teams also supported homeowners who took advantage of the additional opportunities to submit claims within the first year. As the housing market continues to face uncertainty, our board of directors are committed to working together with management to continue to evolve new home warranty program to meet these challenges and help homeowners navigate the warranty process when needed. Thank you again for taking the time to join us this evening. I'll now pass this over to Edmund Lee, Tarion's Vice President and Chief Risk Officer. Edmund.
Thank you, Andy, and good evening, everyone. Now, I would say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this pictorial shows how Tarion has gone from a record $64 million loss in 2023 to a positive bottom line in 2024. Tarion results and cash flows continue to be stressed by builder receiverships and low enrollments. But the Guarantee Fund contributed positively again, and also a new financial risk mitigation capital replenishment fee was instituted. A strong capital markets recovery helped the Guarantee Fund deliver $47 million of revenue to help finance another year of high claims driven largely from receiverships and a 35% drop in enrollments that dramatically reduced cash flows. Overall, $139 million of cash was sourced from the Guarantee Fund to support warranty service and claims payments to homeowners. Now that you have the big picture, let's dig into some financial statement excerpts. Tarion's warranty operation lost $10.3 million in 2024, but that's a dramatic improvement from last year's loss of $79.7 million as per the insurance services result line. In 2024, there was a dramatic improvement in insurance services expense because there's no repeat of that similar large illegal claim loss that happened in 2023. Meanwhile, their Guarantee Fund returned over 7% in both 2024 and 2023. But the revenues in 2024 are lower because the high cash needs during this year reduce the amount available for investment. Now, the Guarantee Fund ended the year at $608 million, down from $718 million, as it was the key source, obviously, of the $104.9 million of claims paid in 2024. I want to highlight the reinsurance recoverable of $33 million represents the key catastrophic claims risk mitigation that Tarion has instituted since 2016. The excess loss reinsurance policy was triggered last year due largely because of a large illegal vending claim. Year to date, in 2025, Tarion has collected approximately $16 million of cash from reinsurer, with more to come. The counterpart to this asset is an AM Best A++ rated insurer with more than 4 times the regulatory available capital of Tarion, so collectability confidence is very high. Excess loss reinsurance is part of Tarion's diversified risk management approach and is the critical financial complement to the sizable investments the corporation has made in detective and preventative controls like inspections, new home project risk analysis, and vendor-builder reporting requirements. As well, we focus working together closely with a home construction regulatory authority to combat illegal activity. Tarion works every year with prominent reinsurance brokers to evaluate and identify the most appropriate coverage as industry conditions evolve. Now, despite the slower enrollments and large claim payouts, Tarion still has over $400 million of insurance contract liabilities. Indeed, you can say that of the $600 million of Guarantee Fund assets, $400 million has been spoken for, as these are assets needed to service the thousands of homeowners that have warranties in force and claims outstanding. And then that leaves one to consider Tarion's net worth of $199 million, which is represented by the equity line. A person's net worth is what helps them survive the adverse impacts of a work injury, a car accident, a severe home flood or fire. And Tarion's net worth can be viewed likewise in the face of catastrophic claims. So over and above reporting, auditing, inspection controls that are in place, a prudent insurance warranty company needs to be ready financially for a plausible catastrophic loss and rebuild its capital over a reasonable time frame. For illustrative purposes, you can see that in this slide, a 100-year event like a large insolvent builder would reduce Tarion equity by $170 million and more. Before reinsurance, a loss similar to what we saw in the last few years with illegal vending comes in at third place severity with a probability of once every 35 years. We review these loss scenarios annually with our appointed actuary in a preparation for stress testing of our capital. Now, the vast majority of builders would not drive these sizable losses, but risk management requires one to consider the outliers. After recent losses related to illegal vending, Tarion needs to rebuild its capital to be ready to backstop homeowners because the industry is still in recessionary territory. I referred to builder receiverships and insolvencies, and this chart demonstrates the risk that Tarion must continue to monitor. There's a lot of debt that has been taken on in the industry, but new residential sales and construction are falling dramatically. I want to highlight the new capital replenishment fee that is a key financial risk mitigation for Tarion. This brought in $9 million in 2024. A major catastrophic claim like we saw in the last few years drains Tarion's cash and capital very quickly as homeowners are paid out as soon as valid claims are established. In 2024, we received $57 million in enrollment fees, and these were used to support the payout of $104.9 million of claim payments to homeowners. Now, cost management, prudent project planning, adequate enrollment pricing, and steady investment returns are all key to rebuilding Tarion's capital, but these may take many years. From a capital perspective, Tarion needs to have the reliable insurance company mindset and have capital at the ready for the next major claim loss to protect homeowners under warranty. Any prudent insurance company needs to have money available ASAP for the next major claim and accumulate that money quickly because policy beneficiaries are counting on it for their protection. In Tarion's midterm planning horizon, the capital replenishment fee is to be rescinded. And in the long term, Tarion intends to rely on adequate enrollment fee pricing, consistent guaranteed fund returns, underwriting controls, technological efficiencies, and service improvements to support its capital adequacy for the benefit of new home buyers. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to Peter Balasubramanian, our CEO.
Thanks, Edmund, and I want to thank everyone who came here in person and everybody who's watching this online at home. Thank you for tuning in to our annual meeting. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk about our stakeholder outreach and education, some of our operational statistics in 2024, consumer process improvements, including some of our enhancements in the digital area, a new purchase agreement registration initiative that's been in the news recently, and I'm going to conclude by looking at some consumer feedback and areas for continuous improvement. As you've already heard this evening, 2024 was a tumultuous time both for home buyers and builders. The uncertainty of the market underscored the importance of having a new home warranty program in the province to help protect investments made by home buyers. In 2024, we prioritized outreach to consumers considering buying a new home through awareness campaigns that informed them of the steps they should take before they should sign an agreement of purchase and sale, and letting them know how their deposit would be best protected. We followed this up with new homeowner information sessions to help them understand the builder's warranty, the claims process, and how Tarion can help. We achieved our goal of reaching out to every homeowner who took possession during the year, and we are continuing to do this in 2025, both virtually and in person. So far this year, we've already held 10 homeowner education sessions with more than 2,000 participants. In addition to these outreach sessions, we continue to improve our digital resources to make it easier for stakeholders to get information about the warranty process when they need it. On screen, you'll see an image of the Tarion.com website showing our homeowner and learning resources hub. This is a place that you can find links to learning modules, articles, publications on everything from how to navigate the claims process to how to approach your pre-delivery inspection to helpful tips on how to maintain your home and more. You can also access the search tool on the website. Just type in the area of the warranty process you're interested in and it should take you to it. We also provide resources to a variety of professionals and expert advisors, from real estate agents to real estate lawyers to mortgage professionals and home inspectors who support the home buying journey and are part of the home buying ecosystem. Our goal is to recognize that these professionals play an important role in making sure that home buyers are informed. Through presentations, conferences, we share important information and tips that these experts can in turn share with their clients. And we also host a specific resource page on our website that's dedicated to educating industry professionals. And you'll see a screenshot of this on the screen right now. I'm going to turn now to some operating statistics. Enrollments were down in 2024, and for those of you who are following, they continue to be depressed in 2025. But as Andy noted in his remarks, in 2024, almost 60,000 homeowners took possession of their new homes. Since much of our warranty support happens after a homeowner takes possession, this means that the use of Tarion services remained very high throughout 2024. That's continued in 2025, and I expect that to continue in 2026. Our customer service team in 2024 received more than 50,000 phone calls and over 95,000 inbound emails, over 90% of which came from new home buyers. As Edmund noted earlier, 2024 also marked a significant increase in claim support to consumers, with consumer compensation rising from $47.5 million in 2023 to almost $105 million in 2024. And this represents over 2,000 households with warranty claims, as well as more than 900 individuals who never received the homes they were promised and made deposit claims as a result of canceled or illegally sold projects. While deposit claims dominated the story in 2024, there was also significant activity in the construction warranty area. There were just under 50,000 construction warranty lists which were provided by homeowners to their builders using the Tarion My Home system. Over 98% of them were resolved through the regular claims process without the homeowner escalating to schedule an inspection with Tarion. Of the approximately 7,000 inspections that were scheduled, about 65% of them were canceled after working through the issues with their builder using the Tarion process. When it came time to addressing deposit claims, the volume was almost 20 times higher than in past years, and this required us to innovate to streamline the processing of these claims. We created a dedicated digital portal and were able to reduce the deposit claim processing time down to a few weeks. We're happy we were able to provide that kind of service. In 2024, we also implemented a number of process and digital improvements, and I'm going to touch on a couple of them now. We made changes to the customer service standard that the minister alluded to make it easier for homeowners to obtain assistance from Tarion, particularly in the first year of home ownership. For example, we added a 6-month form so homeowners have a more flexible opportunity to make warranty claims, and they feel less pressure to make all of their claims during that first month of occupancy, which was a criticism we'd heard from consumer groups. We also eliminated the restrictions on when homeowners could ask for conciliation, making the process less complicated and bureaucratic. In addition to these and other process changes, we also introduced upgraded digital tools to make it easier for homeowners and builders to communicate during warranty repairs and easier for homeowners to understand their builder's warranty coverage. Tarion's Home Hub tool gives homeowners and builders a platform where they can share updates on the progress of warranty repairs, and it works with the My Home portal that homeowners already use to submit warranty service requests, and it addresses a need voiced by homeowners for more clarity during the warranty process. Integrated into the Home Hub is our revamped Home Explorer tool, and on the screen you'll see the tool as it appears on our website. Home Explorer is an interactive version of the Construction Performance Guidelines, which provides information about warranty coverage. It allows a homeowner or a builder to look up individual items, for example, flooring or light fixtures, by clicking on the items in a 3D house, which will then bring up the relevant articles in the Construction Performance Guidelines that apply. Both homeowners and builders can share links from Home Explorer in Home Hub as part of their ongoing communication regarding reported warranty issues. Home Explorer is an intuitive tool that will help homeowners better understand their builder's warranty and should provide better consistency to the warranty experience. In 2024, we also updated the Construction Performance Guidelines themselves, adding information relating to the coverage of radon and clarifying coverage relating to the ice buildup on roofs, which is an important matter to many new home buyers in our climate. Earlier this year, we also announced a new initiative whereby new homeowners would be asked when they entered an agreement of purchase and sale to buy a new home to let us know, so that we could then confirm with them that they qualify for maximum coverage for their deposit. And this initiative was developed after public consultation and proposed as a common sense solution to address several problems. First, many of the deposit cases in 2024 were unauthorized sales, where rogue builders hid the transactions from the regulator. Second, it became clear that many consumers were not getting the right information about the warranty program at the right time. Some did not know their deposits qualified for coverage, and some may have thought the coverage was actually higher or lower than it actually was. The proposal is to add a simple step as a part of the deposit protection program, asking homeowners to let us know that they were giving a deposit to a builder so we could then confirm to them what the coverage is, and also take some of the burden off of them to determine whether their builder was acting legally. Once they let us know, we could do that work for them. And the proposal, in addition to giving them better information at the right time, should have a number of other benefits. Consumer confidence should go up when they know their deposit's protected. By sharing their contact information, they'll receive key information on a timely basis, including information about delayed closing warranty and the importance of the pre-delivery inspection and what to look for, which is an important part of the process. And of course, we'll be able to check that the builder is acting legally and in conformance with its regulatory obligations, and then take steps to work with the Home Construction Regulatory Authority to protect consumers if the builder is acting illegally. Of course, it's important to make sure that the process is simple and usable and doesn't overly burden the consumer. Over the course of 2024, we piloted the process on a voluntary basis and received some positive feedback from home buyers who used it. The notice itself is done through a link on our website, and it takes only a minute to key in the information. The notice process can also be done by any professional, real estate lawyer, or real estate agent, and we believe that involving these professionals in the process is an important part of our goal. Recently, there have been concerns expressed that this process could be burdensome on new home buyers, and there were some misconceptions that it's intended to have homeowners take over policing of illegal sales instead of investing resources to stop illegal building, which is a major issue. We don't think that's the case. We do believe that the program is a common sense step to engage the consumer in the process, but we do take the feedback seriously. And for that reason, we're working with the ministry to push back the implementation date to January 1 instead of this summer, and we're going to use that extra time to engage with our stakeholders and refine the process and address concerns. I'd like to now conclude my remarks by looking at some of the consumer feedback from 2024 and touch on some areas for continuous improvement. As noted earlier, each year we work with tens of thousands of homeowners. In 2024, we handled several thousand requests for assistance and conducted thousands of conciliation inspections. Each year, we use a third party to conduct surveys about our performance, and we reach out to almost everyone who interacts with us. In terms of our overall customer survey results, our homeowner satisfaction rate in 2024 was 82.7%, which was a slight increase from the prior year, and it reinforces that we continue to move in the right direction as an organization. For the conciliation inspection work that we do when we arrive at a person's home with the builder and the homeowner to inspect issues, we do survey that work separately, and we get input on the experience. In 2024, we received an 86% satisfaction rating from homeowners after a conciliation. Of the almost 2,500 warranty assessments we provided to homeowners in 2024, only 3% escalated to the point where the homeowner asked for a decision so that they could have our decision reviewed by the Independent Warranty Appeals Tribunal. While these are only high-level stats, they also show that we continue to be pointed in the right direction. At an individual level, 3% still translates to 80 homeowners who felt our decisions were wrong. And you could add to that over 150 homeowners in 2024 who worked with us through our mediation services, and almost 350 stakeholders who reached out to the Independent Ombuds Office about fairness or process issues. So the picture painted by our overall statistics, while directionally sound, doesn't tell the whole story. In general, the most common complaint by unhappy homeowners reflected in our survey data was that they felt our decisions seemed to them to be biased towards the builder. On the flip side, the most common complaint by builders about our assessment was that they felt they showed a bias towards consumers. We continue to strive to apply fair decision-making, professionalism, and courtesy in all of our decisions. We remain committed to listening to all of the feedback, and we continue to look for ways to make the warranty program better. Evenings like this are an opportunity to listen to feedback directly. I want to finish by highlighting one example of a consumer improvement, which was identified as a recommendation in the 2024 Ombuds Office report, which can be reviewed online. The idea was that some consumers felt that our release and settlement documentation was, in essence, too legalistic. We acted on that recommendation to eliminate the release requirements for most warranty resolutions, making our claims process simpler and more consumer-friendly. That concludes my presentation this evening. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us. I'm going to pass it back on to kick off the first part of our Q&A period, which was scheduled to start at 6, and I think we're right on schedule. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So now, as promised, we'll move to our first part of the question and answer period. And we have both in-person and virtual attendees. So we'll be taking questions from the room as well as from online. For those of you in the room, if you have a question, you can make your way to the microphone. Each person will ask that you ask one question when it's your turn. If you have a second question, we'll ask that you let others take their turn first. And we've organized this in a way just to make sure as many people as possible get to answer their questions before moving on to allow people to ask their second or further questions. In terms of asking your question, in order for us to help hear from as many people as possible, I'd ask that you make your question as direct and as brief as you can. As mentioned at the outset, for those of you online, you can submit your questions by emailing them to events@tarion.com. We'll close this portion of the Q&A at about 6:30, after which we'll move to the second part of the Q&A, where people can ask more file-specific questions. So let's begin with the first question.
Good evening. My name is Nina Deeb. On page 14 of your annual report, it states that one of your strategic objectives is to be a trusted resource, and that Tarion is committed to working with the Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement, municipalities, and all other stakeholders to achieve this vision. In order to achieve this vision, how can the consumers which fund your organization, how can they trust your organization when the former Minister of Consumer and Commercial Services is sitting on your board? The Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery and Procurement has changed names over the years, but the minister that was charged with your oversight for nearly 3 years is sitting on your board. How can consumers trust your organization when this type of appointment exists?
If I could respond to that. So you're referring to David Tabucci, who is one of the ministerial appointments on our board of 12 people. 4 of the board members are appointed by the minister. So the board and the organization has no influence on who the minister's appointments are. But I would say this about David Tabucci. Yes, he was the minister with responsibility for oversight of Tarion. I don't know if it was 25 years ago or something. I don't know that would disqualify him for life to have anything to do with Tarion. And I can just speak in terms of what happens when issues are deliberated at the board, is he has very good contributions on a wide range of issues that we deal with. So I'm quite happy to have him on the board. His responsibility for oversight from decades ago, I don't see how that has any negative impact on what Tarion does.
Thank you. Next.
Hi there. My name is Tim Hyde. I'm a retired lawyer and title insurance executive. And this is a question for any lawyers that might be on the panel. Do you happen to know whether today lawyers representing the purchaser of a new home do a search at the building department to see if there are any work orders, or if the building permit has been closed, or if there are outstanding inspections? I know for a fact they don't. They're advised by the title insurance underwriters, and I used to be one, that they can save the $100 to $150 that search normally costs. Most municipalities charge about that to search their records. So we have in Ontario, Peter, you referred to rogue builders. Anyway, we have varying degrees of skill amongst our builder group. We have municipal inspection authorities that some do very rigorous inspections, some have less resources and are not able to inspect as much. And then the poor purchaser of this newly built home has a lawyer who, to save $150 on the fees that he quotes, or she quotes, doesn't write to the building department to find out if there are 100 code violations. And the title insurance companies say, we have coverage in our policy for any adverse circumstance that might have been revealed by that search. Well, these consumers are only figuring that out after they've spent 8 years negotiating with Tarion. This is insane. Tarion absolutely has to tell FSRA, because they regulate the title insurers, hello, FSRA, tell your title insurers that you regulate to tell their agents, who are the lawyers, to search the damn building department.
So thank you for that. I want to make a couple of comments. The first comment is I'm going to be here for a while after this is over, and I'd be happy to speak to you further. I think I'm getting the sense that there's more depth to this iceberg and that you have a lot of experience to share, and I would be happy to listen to it. On the other aspect of what I want to say, and I touched on it in my remarks, I think that the home buying journey, which involves so many professionals, including real estate lawyers, is an important part of what we all need to focus on to improve outcomes for home buyers in Ontario. That's why we're investing in an industry professional specific set of outreach. I pointed out one during my remarks where we have a resource on our website for industry professionals. But also I think we need to engage them in the process and ensure that real estate agents, mortgage brokers, real estate lawyers are aware of the risks that home buyers can face by illegal activity, and that they're aware of how the builder warranty works in Ontario, and that they express that and they share that information with their clients. I think that should be a professional responsibility of real estate lawyers. I think we share a lot of the same sentiments, and I look forward to talking to you after the session's over.
Encourage FSRA to make them search at the building department. It's really easy.
Thank you. Next.
Yes, you mentioned during your presentation that you lost about $80 million in illegal deposit taking and builders who don't register their homes with the Tarion program. Do you acknowledge that a lack of monitoring or proactive measures from your side, from Tarion's side, has contributed to this financial disaster?
I think that when I look at the experience that we saw in 2023 and 2024, particularly involving a single builder that entered into something in the range of 700 unauthorized agreements of purchase and sale, that represented a real wake-up call to the province and all of the professionals, agencies, including Tarion, who are connected to the home buying process. When I looked at it, I will tell you, I looked at the data going back to 1976. The experience of 2023 was utterly unprecedented. Could it have been avoided? I don't think, in hindsight, that there was really the infrastructure there to handle that kind of risk. I think that the way that we should be judging our institutions and the professionals that are in the market is how do they respond to the risk now that we know it's there. I think that we're doing our best. We're making proposals. to mitigate that risk going forward.
I just want to also, and you received a copy of this as well, I have an article here from the Toronto Star from 1995 in which your predecessor at Tarion, CEO, is saying illegal building is a sizable problem in Ontario, and we strongly recommend that all consumers who consider buying a new home contact Tarion before they sign the agreement of purchase and sale. That was 30 years ago. You're still wrestling with the same problem. It's just not credible that you haven't been able to at least require builders to show proof of licensing when they get the building permit. I've suggested that over and over again to stone-faced executives. I suggest to you that you are partly the cause of what has happened. If you've had 30 years to wrestle this illegal building problem to the ground and you still haven't done it, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not the consumer's problem. So I put it to you that you're not doing enough and what you're doing is not effective, and that your partners at the ministry and at HCRA need to work together to make sure that builders have to show proof that they're licensed and proof that they enrolled in the Tarion program when they are at the building permit licensing stage. It's just common sense. It's so simple, it's flabbergasting that this hasn't been done. I'm asking you to take that on, Mr. Balasubramanian.
Barbara, aside from the stone-faced comment, you and I are in more agreement than we're in opposition here. Illegal building has been a problem for far too long. I do think there are legislative solutions that should be pursued and looked into. I think involving all of the actors in the ecosystem of home buying, including municipalities, is something that needs to be seriously considered. I think there are other jurisdictions in Canada. You've written about it. British Columbia has an approach where municipalities act as a gatekeeper in effect, and they won't provide a building permit to a builder that doesn't show proof of a license. And I can tell you that if that initiative were put forward and I were asked my opinion, I would be supportive of that. And I'll be happy to talk about these issues because I know there are more. I've already offered to have the cup of coffee with you. I'll be happy to talk about it further with you at another time.
If I could just add, the issue of the municipality checking with Tarion whether the builder is authorized to build a particular home, that comes long after the purchase agreements are entered into in many cases. So in the Stateview case of the hundreds of unauthorized sales that they made, that was long before, and they never did apply for building permits for the bulk of those homes. So yes, that is part of the solution if the municipalities can be engaged in the process, but getting the home buyer engaged in the process to let us know when they have entered into an agreement of purchase and sale, that will go a very long way to stopping another Stateview from happening.
And Peter, maybe I'll just add as well, what's really important to understand is you made reference to those 700 purchasers who bought from an illegal vendor, which is certainly terrible. But what happened is Tarion was there to backstop that warranty. Those 700 purchasers were able to come to Tarion to get deposit coverage, whereas if they were in a lot of other provinces in Canada, they would not have been entitled to that compensation.
Thank you. We're going to go online for a question. Melanie?
At a previous Tarion meeting, the CEO said homeowners just had to write the defect they observed, and that was enough to trigger our process. Can you explain what the Tarion process is?
Yeah, I think I might defer to Sophie if you want to run through the process and speak about what a homeowner needs to do to trigger it.
Yeah, so they just have to submit a form with a symptom of the defect that they're experiencing. So water penetration would be one example, that they see water penetrating through a crack in the basement. And then the builders provided with a 120-day repair period to go in and investigate and repair the issue. If the homeowner is not satisfied that the issue is properly resolved by the builder, then they can request a conciliation in which case then Tarion will come in and conduct an investigation. They'll probably do a water test. We may retain a consultant to do some destructive testing if necessary, open up the walls, see what's behind the walls and it's the cause of the water penetration. And then we will issue a warranty assessment report or conciliation assessment report, identifying whether the cause is due to a builder defect. If it is, then it will be warranted, and the builder will then be provided with an additional time to conduct repairs. If they don't conduct repairs, then Tarion will resolve the matter with the homeowner directly.
Okay, thank you. One more from online.
Is there a time limit to ask for mediation?
For mediation, no, as long as there is a warranty assessment that has been issued and the file is at the point where a complete assessment has been made on the issue that's been reported, then mediation can be requested. There's no timeline.
Yeah, I would just add, there are two things, right? There is actually a regulation that's created a mediation process, which is what Sophie's referring to. Mediation is also an alternative dispute resolution tool that may be appropriate in any number of cases. And so to anyone who's watching that feels they have a dispute with Tarion that they think a mediation might be helpful to, they should reach out. In general, if we think that a mediation could help, we would be agreeable to it.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. My name's Stephen Weir. I live at 485 Logan in Toronto. And I'm actually here to talk a little bit about the Tarion process because the buyers in our building are currently dealing with a lot of issues. Our builder was deemed unwilling, unable. Our project is unfinished at the moment. And now we are faced with a second round of difficulties and challenges trying to provide a burden of proof as we deal with issues in the building. We're running into multiple systems failures in the building. And to be fair, Tarion has worked with us on many of the issues. I'm sure you're aware. The biggest issue that we're encountering right now and that we're working hard to overcome, especially members of the board, is really overcoming that burden of proof upon inspections and looking at conciliations and looking at being made whole. Ultimately, what happened was the builder was removed from the project and we were left with a lot of incomplete items in the building. And currently, our roof is being repaired. We're being asked to provide extra evidence as homeowners to substantiate our claims. So it's not just an issue of, as you said, Sophie, reporting symptoms of an issue, but we were specifically and explicitly told by inspectors that we had to provide proof, not symptoms, but find the cause and provide that. Now, we've worked with a few people. Ryan Haley's here. He's been empathetic and great to work with, and he's been doing his best, but what we're finding from inspectors is that their hands are tied. So I guess my question to you is really, what can Tarion do to help alleviate the burden that's placed on homeowners to provide that proof? Because from our experience, we're in a situation of being completely depleted by the fact that the builder has left us in a situation of difficulty and forced to fund additional inspections, examinations, engineers, etc., in order to back up our claims and provide evidence of the defects that we're seeing in our building that are obvious to Tarion representatives. It's not just a symptom, we're being asked to provide the proof. And how can Tarion help alleviate that burden on us?
Yeah, so let me first off express my sympathy for any kind of frustration you guys are going through. I'm happy to hear that you're working with some of our staff. On the burden of proof issue, the process is as Sophie outlined it. And I think I'd like to, since you're here, I'll be happy to stay after, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about the situation. I'm inferring that it's a condo project. One situation where the burden of proof issue can be, and I don't know that this applies, I'm trying to give general information to the viewers here and the audience, but I'll speak to you more specifically about your file afterward. One way that that issue can become something that we request or we ask the homeowner to show is if we assess a claim and then there's a dispute about the nature of the repair, the scope of the repair, or even if it's warranted or not. So the process that Sophie described, homeowner puts on a form that there is a symptom of water penetration. Well, there's also a possibility that our assessment of that would be that the water penetration was not actually through the foundation wall, that it was condensation or it was caused by something else. In which case, now, if the homeowner wants to overturn our decision or convince us that our decision was wrong, too narrow, or otherwise needs to be revisited, they will have to be providing us with positive evidence. But I don't know that that's what you're dealing with. Some of the language you've used gives me pause and makes me think that I'd really like to explore it further.
Yeah, I believe that you're familiar with our situation. Peter Tappins had reached out to you a few months ago in regard to the situation. I know you are, Sophie, because some of our board members and other people in the building have spoken with you. The builder is unwilling, unable. There was an assault that occurred against one of the members of our board. And, we're currently dealing with a leaky roof that we reported in July of 2024. That is being warranted, but we're still walking through the mire of having that actually addressed. And, we've been through one winter with a leaky roof already. And so, yeah, I mean, the amount of work that myself, other members of the board, homeowners have had to put in order to get to a point where Tarion is acknowledging a systemic failure of this builder in our home. Mr. Lee was talking about a person's net worth being their fail-safe, their protection. And right now, I'm genuinely afraid that my home has no value, that we paid close to $1 million for. This is a year into an emergency claim on a roof that we've already been through a winter on, and it is warranted, but we still are waiting on amounts. We've provided evidence and reports, but we're still waiting. And, there's mushrooms growing out of our building, there's mold in multiple units, and we're still waiting.
Hearing you, it doesn't sound right to me. So I will stay after, and I know Ryan's here, and let's connect.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. My name is Alex Patinos, homeowner. This was kind of raised by Barbara, but I'm going to ask a slightly different question on this. So as was reported in the media, Tarion is seeking in court at least $87 million in damages. It says it suffered in compensating more than 900 Stateview home purchasers. October 2023, Star investigation found Stateview collected tens of millions of dollars in deposits from home buyers for hundreds of homes that it did not have authorization to sell. Yet Tarion, while they were licensing builders, discovered nothing about Stateview, who did have some licenses, and HICRA, likewise, discovered nothing and allowed these 900 homeowners to be exposed to a delinquent builder. So Andy, my question to you, that's a large number of homes that were registered illegally. So you as the board, have you started an investigation of Tarion and their employees to uncover if any Tarion management or employees knowingly ignored signs of Stateview being a delinquent builder, or were just delinquent in providing their duties? And why have you not taken action against HICRA for the last 4 or 5 years and being delinquent as well? Why don't you sue HICRA for the damages?
Well, first, let me start with the last question first. It would be highly unusual for us to sue HCRA with respect to someone that they licensed, and then we ran into a problem. The problem with Stateview was mostly that they were not licensed. They had several corporate entities. Some of them were licensed, most of them were not. They were operating under the radar. There was, as I think Peter commented on that before, but there was no way of knowing that they were doing this.
How do you know that? How do you know there's no way of knowing? The Toronto Star knows. Have you conducted an investigation as the board of directors?
The Toronto Star article came way after we were aware of the issue with Stateview.
Have you conducted an investigation to see if Tarion or HICRA knew, knowingly ignored, or were delinquent in finding out information? You've known for 35 plus years there's illegal builders. This is 900 homes, and Kevin, to your point, you did not fully cover their deposits. You only covered the maximum amount you have. 900 homeowners, because Tarion and HICRA are not doing their job.
Mr. Putinos, this is an open session. We appreciate your feedback. I hear the recommendation and the suggestion that you're making.
Has an investigation been opened?
There's been no investigation. I hear your recommendation that you want us to open such an investigation and you would like us to pursue a lawsuit against the Home Construction Regulatory Authority. As always, I appreciate your attendance.
Thank you. We're going to go online for a question, please.
Why has Tarion's leadership team increased in number since Tarion was stripped of the responsibilities that were transferred to the HCRA?
Well, let me start, and Peter, you may have something to add. Before the formation of HCRA, the licensing function was in the hands of Tarion. At the time, something like 15% of the Tarion staff were engaged in the licensing process. So it's a relatively small part of the business that went over to HCRA. Not directly comparable, because what HCRA's mandate and powers in the area of licensing are different than when Tarion had the function, but it had a relatively small impact at the time. And since then, the work that Tarion is doing with respect to increases in coverage, increases in conciliation requests and such, that we have more work to do than we did at the time, sort of pre-HCRA.
Yeah, and I would also add that in the past year, we moved one position, which was a director of HR, and turned it into a vice president position. We did the same with a public affairs position. We added a new role of chief risk officer, which I think recognizes the importance of risk in the modern environment. So a lot of these were either the addition of a role which we think is industry best practice, or really the conversion of a role from a director position to a vice president position.
Thank you. So we're coming to the end of the first part of the Q&A. We've got about 5 minutes left. So we're going to have time for one or two more questions.
Well, there are three people. Let's make sure that all of the three people currently standing get their questions asked if we can.
Okay, so we'll go back to in person then. Okay, if you want to go ahead. But remember, you are invited to stay for the second half of the Q&A, and the executive team are going to remain to be able to answer your questions. And if you're online, they'll continue to respond to your questions if you submit them to events@tarion.com until about 7 o'clock. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am Jen Moore. You should know my name well. We've been ignoring my emails for quite some time. So I will say, for anybody here who's going in the beginning of their journey, buckle up. So we're at the tail end of 4.5 years now, and been reminded repeatedly that we have hit our max. So we're one of the lucky ones that fought till the end and still don't have enough. So I'd ask a few questions. So one is, should I be expected to take 120 days off in 3 years to accommodate Tarion? First question. And be unpaid, which I've repeatedly asked to be paid for and been ignored. And then secondly is, when you exceed the cap, there seems to be inconsistencies. So I've heard stories of people hitting 150,000 over their cap with the exact same issues that are in my home. And we have been repeatedly told, Sophie, you know this, you've just responded last week yet again, reminding me that I've hit my cap and will be given nothing. Nothing. So I'll leave it at that, I guess. So maybe you'll have time to talk after this.
Yeah, let me address the two questions you did ask. 120 days off in 3 years. I'm assuming that's time that you're taking off to
accommodate the 900 visits that were happening in my home.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound acceptable to me.
Yeah, I know.
And in general, you know, when I look at stories and consumer experiences, My expectation of the building industry, to the builders out there who might be either in the audience or watching, is that the repair periods are a courtesy in the legislation to accommodate extreme situations, and our expectation is that you don't drag homeowners through kind of repeated sessions.
I will tell you, our builder walked away in month 4, and this is how long it took to get to resolution.
Yeah, and that's something
And we're not
that I
fully
don't...
resolved, quite frankly. I think it's absurd that I had to spend this much time fighting, and the amount of emails and research I had to do to prove that code violations existed, absurd.
Based on what I'm hearing, I agree with you. And in terms of the warranty caps, those are regulated caps. We are aware of inconsistency that's been applied in the past, and I agree with the sentiment that we have to be absolutely consistent with our approach to claim payouts.
So SOL, that's what I'm hearing? Got it.
Thank you. We'll take the last 2 questions in the room.
Good evening. My name is Nina Deeb. My question is regarding enrollments on page 11 of your annual report. The enrollments for last year were only 36,998, which is only half of what it was 2 years prior. This is the lowest enrollments since your inception. So one of the comments I'd like to make is last year you increased Tarion fees. So the ceiling cap was raised 343%, and the entry-level homes, the first 4 levels of price points for where the Tarion fees calculated were all increased. The minimum fee now is $585. One of the things that Tarion could do to encourage home enrollments and home sales at these entry-level homes was to not have increased fees on these entry-level homes. Will Tarion reverse back the fee increases on these entry-level homes?
The enrollment decline, which you pointed out, is not connected to the costs of the organization. You heard from Edmund and Kevin in the annual report that last year over $100 million in consumer payouts were made. So there's a larger question that needs to be examined on how and why we raise fees, what that relates to, and I'd be happy to speak with you about that offline. I will say that when we apply fee increases, we do make a consideration of how to have the least impact on affordable homes. And this year, when we are looking at that, we are going to be applying fee increases only to homes that are $550,000 or above. So it is a consideration that we look at. I don't know if that answers your question, but again, I'd be happy to speak to you after the session.
Thank you. Last question to Barbara.
Yes, I noticed that you didn't mention this during your presentation, but you have 9 excuses which builders can use to get out of their warranty obligations. You increased that number. It was 7 in 2021. You increased it to 9 this year. One of those excuses is the homeowner did not describe the item sufficiently. I would like to know, it's clear that that benefits builders because they don't have the item listed on their record, and number 2, they don't have to indemnify Tarion for the amount that you pay out. My question is, how is this consumer protection?
Yeah, Barbara, that's misinformation, actually. The two major corrections I want to make there. And
I'm sorry to have to do this, but this is from your website.
Sure. So that's okay. And you know, we can talk about it after as well. But I think there's 2 major corrections that I want to make. First is the suggestion that the builder gets away from their obligations. In fact, that's not how it works at all. Essentially what the process is that a builder is accountable for their builder's warranty, and if they don't step up and do what they promised to do, we will step in and direct them to do it, and if they don't do it, we'll resolve that with the homeowner. Now, in addition to that, in Ontario, which is different from anywhere else in Canada, there is also a public builder directory where a conciliation inspection gets posted if the builder could have done the repair but didn't. That issue raises a fairness question for builders, which is if the repair relates to a defect that they reasonably couldn't have dealt with in advance, they're still required to fix it, and that's an important point which you gloss over. If the builder couldn't repair it because, for example, it wasn't described, because if it wasn't described properly, they couldn't send their trade in to fix it, they're still required to fix it. The only thing that that excuse, as you put it, does is we say, well, look, if it's true that the reason why you didn't fix it wasn't because you refused to fix it, but was because it wasn't described properly, and we agree that that's fair, you still have to do it. We still hold the builder accountable, but the matter won't be posted on their record, which is a matter of administrative fairness.
The builder's going to be so angry that he's been ratted out to Tarion. What's your chance he's going to come and fix it? Zero.
Well, I'm happy to stay here and hear some more suggestions on improving the practical aspects of this.
Okay, and thank you. This brings us to the end of the live stream portion of Tarion's 2025 Annual Public Meeting. On behalf of Tarion, I'd like to thank you all for participating this evening. If you're interested in learning more about Tarion's activities, we invite you to visit tarion.com, download the 2024 Annual Report. We'll now be closing the live stream portion, but inviting those individuals who are present who have any file-specific questions to bring them forward to the Tarion team. You'll see that we have warranty service and underwriting staff in the back. You can identify them by the Tarion name tags. And the executive team and the board will remain until 7 p.m. Tom Barber, the ombudsman, is also available, and he's there in the room. And if you are online, I'll just remind you that you can still email your questions to events@tarion.com. So thank you once again for joining us for Tarion's 2025 Annual Public Meeting. Good night.